Way back in the Ice Age, and I'm talking like pre-Marvel, if a movie wanted to be a hit, you had two options. Get a killer cast or tell a great story. I know that. But now, you don't need all that. You don't need efforts. You don't even need a story. All you need is... I love being with myself. I mean, who wouldn't? I am very cool. I don't not have anyone to go out with because I'm boring. I just prefer to be by myself. With myself. Completely alone. And the best way to be by yourself without feeling like you're completely alone is movies. I don't know if you relate to this, but the most annoying thing about liking movies is having people ask me why. Because yeah, sometimes I can talk about like the colors and the themes and characters and like the meat of what I'm watching. But other times I just like what I'm watching. One of my favorite New Year's resolutions was to watch more movies this year. And I discovered this new feeling. That thing where a movie feels important. Like, I mean, it made you cry. So it must be good, right? I started using Letterboxd a couple months ago and I noticed this strange phenomenon. People would leave a heart on movies that they had rated like 1 star. Like if you take it so bad, why would you like it? I didn't know that this was an option, but it just makes so much sense. Just because something is like objectively bad doesn't mean I couldn't have a great time while viewing it. In the same way, just because something didn't resonate with me or my first watching doesn't mean it's not well made. Like it's probably good, the acting, the cinematography, the score, all those fancy words, they're all probably good. But I'm just not in a place in my life where I can appreciate it as much as other people do. You get what I mean? And that's fine, unless you're online. But then came this movie. Wait, Paul, don't show it yet. I have a very funny joke again. So, you know how goldfish can't remember anything, so technically they don't have a past, right? Yeah, but like, I don't have a life. So when you put that together, it's almost like we have a past life. The movie is Past Lives. I love this movie. I watched it all in one night. Immediate 5 stars. I got the freaking poster made into my friend's lock screen. I couldn't stop talking about how much I loved Past Lives. Oh my gosh, have you seen Past Lives? Guys, I swear it's so good. Like Past Lives. Have you seen Past Lives?
No.
Like Past Lives, like that. It's so amazing. Like you need to watch it. I swear. Like,
What's it about?
No. I don't want to get spoilers in your head, Charlie.
I
Like,
don't mind spoilers.
no, it's like about like. Forget.
No, seriously, like I don't care. Like what happens in the movie?
Can you just I know I said it quite casually the last time, but me giving a movie 5 stars is such a big deal for me. There's this part in my brain that won't allow me to give something a full rating if I don't think it's perfect. That's why I like YouTube. Like, it's so easy. You like the video, you like it, you dislike it, you dislike it. It's just easy. But like, whenever I open the Uber app, I feel like I'm having a panic attack. All that to say, I found it very worrying where there's this movie that I love. I give it 5 stars right after watching it. Yet 3 days after, I couldn't even remember the plots. Now, that may be an issue with me and my brain, but I actually don't think so, and you can trust me because I'm a doctor. My friends' comments about spoilers got me thinking, see, I hate spoilers. Like, I absolutely despise spoilers. You know that thing where someone doesn't want to tell you something, right? And then they say if they tell you, it will change how you think about them. And you're like, no, nothing could ever make me look at you differently. And then they tell you the thing, and you can't really look at them the same way, but you have to pretend like you can look at them the same way. Yeah, that's how I feel about spoilers. I hate spoilers so much that when I was a kid, I spent fun saving up to make enough money so I'd be able to watch Avengers Endgame or premiere night. And I wanted to be sure there'd be no hassle. I live in a fucking stupid country with no management. I didn't make sure I got my seat, and so I go there like 2 hours early, and I'm all jittery and everything because I'm a kid. I'm excited about the movie, and then this fucking stupid security man sees me all jittery and stuff and calm me down. This nigga tells me that Captain America holds Thor's hammer, which, sorry for the spoiler, I guess I'm doing what I did to you, but he did it to me when it mattered importantly. I was so pissed off about that I still remember his name 6 years later. This stupid smug face. La La Land is one of my favorite movies of all time. I only watched it just this year because sometime in 2016, my sister was watching it on the TV screen and I caught the ending. And in my head, once I knew the start and I knew the end, then like I knew the whole movie. So I didn't need the rest. But I watched La La Land a couple months ago and it's so good that right after I finished, I hated myself so much for forcing myself to not have watched it earlier. I was so upset in fact that I set out to go and watch other movies which I had given this unfair treatment. Surely I would have the same experience. I didn't really care much for Barbie. I mean, they're both very similar, like musically, set pieces, big visuals. On paper, the Barbie movie was so similar to La La Land that any Barbie movie ever had the rights to be. Yet I didn't love it. This is where spoilers had me coming, because when these movies were large enough cultural phenomena that I knew these things before they even came into place. But when I was watching them, my reactions were very different. With La La Land, I loved this scene so much that even without fresh eyes, I was sad when I was watching it. With Barbie, I really couldn't care less. I obviously regretted doing the La La Land spoilers a lot more than I regretted doing the Barbie one. And I have a very strong theory for that reason. See, I think the spoilers in the Barbie movie didn't matter to me because nothing inherently matters in that movie. I want us to take a look at this character type, the Mary Sue. So, there are so many different opinions to who exactly counts as a Mary Sue, but one thing that we can all agree on is that Mary Sues are bland. They are the perfect character, no flaws, basic traits, and no desire to change because they are too perfect to change. They are basically a poorly realized Arthur insert that the whole world revolves around. See, it's like if this channel was named Paul and Friends, Paul would be the perfect Mary Sue. The most defining characteristic of a Mary Sue is that they are improbable and unbelievable. They would have no place in the narrative if the narrative wasn't there to serve them. So let's take two examples of characters who should be Mary Sues, but good writing saved them. First, we have Evelyn from Everything Everywhere All at Once. Evelyn has access to every skill in the universe, which sounds like Mary Sue-ish, but she's not perfect. She's messy, she's overwhelmed, she's constantly failing. Her power comes because she's the worst version of herself, and the story is about her learning empathy, not showing off how special she is. Like with Mia from La La Land. Mia could have been a fantasy or overnight fame, but instead she fails a lot. She struggles, she gets rejected, she almost gives up. Her dreams cost her something, and the film doesn't pretend like she can have it all. She's talented, but like she's also human. But we can't really say the same about the characters in Barbie or Past Lives. Mary Sue's used to be obviously perfect, but mirror characters are the evolution. They are not perfect, but they are bland. Instead of being too good to be relatable, they are too vague to be unrelatable. This allows the audience, which is us, to project ourselves onto the story without doing the actual work of understanding someone different. The protagonists back in the day, they could afford to be marketed as obvious blank slates because we as an audience didn't really care. We didn't care about what Billie's hopes and dreams for the future was. No, all we cared about is whether she got the werewolf or the vampire. But now we've changed. The marketing is hidden in more layers. Mary Sues used to be as obvious as Bella, and they are marketed as Barbies. And it's with a simple trick. An easy way to make you ignore that the characters you're watching are very underwritten is to make you see them as yourself. You know when you get to that time in your life where you're evaluating your close friend's story, you're adding and subtracting, then you get to this one friend, Jake. Jake is my fake middle. Now, I know Jake, you know Jake, we all know Jake. Jake is bad for us. Jake literally adds nothing to our lives. And frankly, we'd be way better off without Jake even being in them. Yet we keep him on that list because, I don't know, Jake makes me laugh. This is the same relationship we have with some films. We stay with these emotionally manipulative films because even though at some level we know that they are not giving us anything substantial in return, at least they make us feel something. In Juror number 2, we don't know much about our character, like his hopes, his dreams, nothing. All we know is that he's a pretty standard guy. He has a well enough paying job, a beautiful wife, some history with alcohol, and he's about to have a kid. You know, details specific enough to get us to differentiate ourselves from him, but not so specific that we can't push ourselves into his shoes. So when the movie finally gets going and we are presented with the premise, what if you were serving on the jury for a crime that you accidentally committed? We are hooked. We're on the edge of our seat, not because of what's happening to him, but we're on the edge of our seats because what if this was happening to us? Same with Past Lives. It's a very current universal experience being offered. The idea of what if. We are always wanting to be in her shoes. We never really care about what's happening to her because of her motivations and her future dreams and her flaws and all that. No, we care about what's happening to her because if it were happening to us, it would be very sad and engaging. Lastly, with Barbie, although it's way less obvious, the same emotional writing technique is at play. The movie paints itself as this bold exploration of womanhood and identity, but what it actually gives us is a character who begins perfect, experiences a big existential crisis, and then is rewarded for it with little real consequence. We don't connect with Barbie because of who she is or what she wants in life. No, we connect with her because of what she represents to us. The tears in the theater aren't really for Barbie. They are for ourselves, for our mothers, for our childhood. And while that's not inherently a bad thing, it means Barbie doesn't have to become a fully developed character. All she has to be is a mirror. And that's the trick. These films work not because they tell us powerful stories, but because because they remind us of our own. We only cry when she cries because she's not a character, she's us. But by doing this, we fall to a situation where the best character on the screen is an implication of the theme, not any actual character themselves. There's a movie from last year, Sometimes I Think About Dying. It's this indie film about isolation. The responses on it were mixed, but not mixed in the sense that people generally didn't feel too good or too bad about it. They were mixed in the sense that everyone was polarized on it. You either got this movie and loved it, or you really didn't enjoy it. Now, Challenge is one of my favorite movies ever. It had a similar polarizing audience, not as large as like Sometimes I Think About Dying, but similar enough that I could see them as a trend. And it got me thinking, what exactly is dividing people this much? The most common reason I could find online is that they couldn't understand why the characters acted in the ways that they did. And whenever I further asked them why, I always got the same response. If I was the character, I wouldn't act in this way. Well, guess what? You're not the character!
It's time for the single
Swiftly
word part
with
talks about
Professor Parr.
Taylor Swift.
Okay. I was rewatching some of Parr's videos because we are clearly two different people when this isn't narcissistic behavior. Shut up. So in this segment right here, I make a statement that I want you to pay close attention to. Just because your mentor is like freaking Taylor Swift. I love Taylor Swift, don't come for me. Did you hear that? Do you know the look of fear in a man's eyes? This right there, that is. And it's this.
In today's lesson of history with Professor Parr,
Oh shit, where are my glasses? We live on an internet where it's safer to say bad things about the presidents than about Taylor Swift. And I don't want to get doxxed.
so for today's Keeping Up with Taylor Swift segments,
We're gonna try some more fun. Olivia, look how cheesy they are together.
oh no, what's happening?
Olivia Rodrigo went from being a relative C-lister to becoming a global superstar in only 5 weeks. And all that began with the release of one song. I loved this song. I loved the story. I loved the drama, the triangle, everything. This was entertainment. And I loved Olivia for making this a whole thing. The problem with that is, I'm a very shallow person. I like it when an artist that I like is successful, because when they are successful, they will be popular. You all remember this table, okay? We all know this table. We've all wanted to be at this table. I've been at this table. It's the cool table. Stop pretending like you don't want to be there. It is Olivia Patton. I've seen it before. It reminds me of this table. Very similar story, very sad script. Young, talented girl with dark hair releases a single that goes mega viral, followed by a super successful debut album and awards and all that. And then what comes next? The flop. Their highly acclaimed yet commercially unsuccessful follow-up. It's very weird that this exact phenomenon happened twice, but three times. Something smells fishy over here. Something smells fishy over here. So I set out to get to the bottom of this. My professor job, putting it to good use. And the Lord single, Green Light, that was like a follow-up single. Like, Green Light is fantastic, but you can point to all these reasons as to why it didn't go like as mega successful. It's same with My Future. That was Billie's attempts. You can also point to all these reasons why it didn't do well, but it was still great. But with Olivia, I couldn't find a logical reason. It's like sometimes I put out a video and it's super successful by my standards, and other times I put out a video and it's not super successful. And there's so many factors to consider. Sometimes there comes a point where I have to admit that maybe, just maybe, the video might just not be as good. I hate Vampire. I would even do a whole breakdown on this, but I don't bore you guys. You can go and watch. I'm making this unlisted video just for you guys. Go and watch that video. It'll be like at the end screen or like in the description. But TLDR, driver's license works because it's specific. We understand her story even though we haven't lived it. Vampire is so vague, it could be about anyone, which means it's literally about no one. This is the same problem that we have with mirror characters in film. They believe that this is a bad story. Like, I still love Vampire. It's easy to think this whenever it comes to comedies like We Are the Millers, Murder Mystery. These movies are very exactly high cinema, but we're still allowed to turn our brains off and enjoy it. But for some reason, we find it harder to apply that same concept to dramas. It's like we find it hard to allow ourselves to believe that we are doing the same thing when we watch some of these more serious movies. When I watched Past Lives, I couldn't stop talking about how much I loved watching Past Lives, but I would never, talk about past lives. I just realized while scripting then that I don't even remember the names of the main characters. It reminds me of this movie, Tenet. I'm not smart enough to understand this movie, but for those of you who are high on Tenet and think it's this hidden masterpiece in story work and all that, What's the main character's name? Oh, he doesn't have one? Like if your story is so convoluted that your main character doesn't have enough time to have a name, I think maybe your story actually has a problem. There's this policy online that stories can either be character driven or plot driven, and I'd like to propose a better system. So how about we keep that like character driven category, we keep it like on the side. I'm gonna break up this new category from my bag. 1 second, let me just pull it up. I hope we're all on the same page now. Guys, a story can't be good without being driven by the characters. See, plot is about what happens in the tale and all that, but story is why all of that actually matters. And it won't matter to us if it doesn't matter to the characters. Saying your story is driven by the plot is like saying your car is driven by the road. All the best stories, no matter how heavy or light they are on the plot, are character driven. But people have used this false designation between plot and character stories to suggest that once a story falls into this bucket where the characters are more important than whatever is happening, the story itself doesn't have to be good. But that's also false. In Challengers, Tashi feels like a real character because we are not invited to relate with her. We are forced to understand her. She's cold, she's calculated, she's brilliant, she's often unlikable. But the film built her contradictions with so much intention that we see her as a full person. We don't root for her because she's us. We root for her in spite of that. But in past lives, she only feels like a real character because she feels like she's us. At this scene, we can cry although Mia is smiling, but in past lives we only cry when she is crying because it's only sad for her when it's sad for us. Your character's motivation can't just be an idea because our motivations aren't just ideas. Like my personal motivations for starting this whole channel, parent friends and everything, you can probably boil them down to smaller digestible motivations. But those small simple motivations don't just exist. They exist because of all the experiences that I've had in my life, and those experiences led me to my beliefs and values and all that. I don't see myself as Fran, but I can understand where she's coming from. I can empathize with her because she's an actually good fleshed out character. This is just a reminder that the movie isn't just the story. I'm not saying that these are bad movies. I'm just saying the stories could be better. Like Avatar, it's an example of a film that doesn't have the best story, but we can't deny that it's a fantastic film. And everything I've said extends to even characters that you wouldn't necessarily think it's possible to relate to.
Look, up in the sky, it's a bird.
It's a plane!
It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman.
Superman as a person is just someone we should never be able to relate to. Yet in the new Superman movie, it just works. But in as much as Superman is an idea, he is very much in situations that we can understand but never fully relates to because we can never be him. Characters like Superman can't use this whole mirror writing trick because the more Superman looks like us, the less he's, Superman. So everyone's chiming on what will make this movie successful or not. I think it totally hinges on how they strike the balance between Clark Kent having to be Superman the idea and Superman the person all at the same time, all at once, because they can't use this easy writing trick that other movies have been using. Now some of you are thinking, Pat, why are you ranting so much about movies and blah blah blah? I subscribed to this channel because I want to see serious stuff. I thought this was a place for serious advice. But guys, this is serious. Art, especially very digestible art, has the power to literally change your worldview. But every time we choose what's relatable over what's challenging, we are literally shrinking the world in our mind instead of expanding it. Art used to introduce us to concepts and people and ideas that we never meet. Now it just shows us ourselves. I don't think everyone will agree that the content on my channel falls under the category of art, if you can even call it content. But at the very least, I would like to believe that this community isn't just an echo chamber, because with all my videos, whether you agree with them or not, I'd like to think that you leave them either thinking or conscious, but like at least just being aware of something in a way that you wouldn't have been before you watched it. And I hope you're entertaining as well, because my ego. But yeah, as creators, we have a choice. Do we want to challenge audiences to understand differences, or do we want to give them an emotional hit that lasts 20 minutes? Like, even with entertainment content, the question should be, what do I want these guys to get out of this? And this isn't just for people who are like content creators, like all of you, my friends, your Instagram pages, your like snap stories and like all of that, the things that you post. Are you sending harmful and exploitative messages and then you mask it in the shield of, oh, I was just trying to be entertaining? You're better than that. You're more creative than that. Don't do that. And I know most platforms reward relatable content because it gets more engagement. But I wouldn't say that this video is safe or relatable, but you're still watching. So if there's a chance that this random ass kid from Africa could get you to consider this thing that he thinks is important for however many minutes, I think you can do the same for a lot of other people. These films took from their audiences without giving much back. Like, art is very powerful, both in creating and consuming. And we inherently have a responsibility to ourselves and those around us to create a positive impact in the world that we have. I'm not saying that that you should go and make empty, happy arts. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that your art should be something that enriches people's lives. These blank slate characters, they actually harm us later down the line by training us to only engage with art that reflects back to us rather than art that expands our empathy. And maybe that's why we barely even remember what we watch anymore, because we are not watching characters, we're not watching unique people in unique situations, we're just watching ourselves. And at what point does it all become meaningless background slop? Balloonies, maybe I'm just being extra. Okay. You can leave now. Pew.